Hi, I'm Ben, I like Kill Team, and I want to talk about it. What's up everybody? In this video I'm going to show you my kit-bashed Vostroyan Firstborn Kill Team using the Krieg side of the Octarius Kill Team box. But first, if you are unfamiliar with the Vostroyan Firstborn, because they're not super popular, they are my personal favorite flavor of Imperial Guard. My buddy Phil from one of my favorite YouTube channels, Manning the Fort, is here to give you a 60-second rundown. Phil, take it away.
Hey Ben, thanks for having me. The icy, polluted world of Vostroya is home to one of the most unique forces in all of the Imperial Guard, the Vostroyan Firstborn. Their distinctive red uniforms show their dual allegiance both to Terra and Mars, and their weapons and armor are some of the finest amongst the Astra Militarum. The regiments of the Firstborn are part of a proud legacy of service to the Imperium. In an unusual display of egalitarianism, the firstborn son of every family on Vostroya is promised to the service of the Emperor's armed forces, no matter their station in life. The laborers of the icy factory planet take special pride in equipping its soldiers, putting extra care into the weapons that will accompany their sons and brothers to war. Beneath the exquisite war gear and even more exquisite hats, however, this proud tradition hides a secret shame for which the Vostroyans have been trying to atone for 10 millennia.
Thanks, Phil. If you want to know more about what that dark secret might be, Phil actually has a video out right now featuring my models, telling you all about the lore and the history of, like I said, my favorite flavor of Imperial Guard, the Vostroyan Firstborn, and I'll have a link to that video in the description of this video. Phil is a lore expert and a hobby veteran. He's an incredible painter and kit basher. Is that a thing that you can say? And so his videos always have a ton of value in them. So I'd absolutely recommend that you check him out, that you go ahead and subscribe so you keep up to date with what he has going on. Every time he puts out a video, I get super pumped and hyped because it's always great stuff. So thanks again, Phil, for helping out in this video. And like I said, the link to his video to pair up with this one about Vostroyan Firstborn will be in my description below. So check that out and go watch it because you're going to love it. I've seen it already and it's great. Now let's get into how I've been running them. Now I have a roster, but I'm going to run you through the list that I have found to be kind of my take-all-comers, what I end up running most of the time. This team has a really high skill ceiling that I have not reached by any means. I'm still learning this team, but I've had some really good success with them just because they have so many tools to play and win the game. So I'm going to show you how I've been running them, what's worked, and so let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's take a look starting with my Sergeant. For reasons we'll get into later, my Sergeant is not that important to me in the long term of a game of Kill Team. I will regularly yeet him into combat range or pistol range to take out a really high profile target. Like always, power sword, plasma pistol, because if you have those options, it's probably the best way to go. In most games, I'm pretty aggro with this guy. Turn one, he's giving orders to my comms guy, who is then broadcasting orders to my whole team, and then getting into position to do something turn two, and then turn two, hopefully, he is ruining somebody's day by either, plasma-ing somebody to death or chopping them to bits, or, if you give him an extra APL, he might even be able to shoot, charge, fight, and that's really good. So that's kind of how I use this guy. I find myself using him to force my opponent to deal with him, which then takes pressure off of the rest of my team who, this might be the scary threat who's doing something over here, but when they're focused on him, they're not focused on the 13 other little dudes who are causing problems or setting up to cause problems, take objectives, that kind of thing in the next turn. Next up, my Confidant. I have him equipped with a bolter because he's hanging back. He's not pushing forward like my leader. My goal is actually the opposite. My goal is to keep the Confidant alive for the entire game, or up until the beginning of the fourth turning point. He has the free ability Directive, which allows you to activate a GA1 model immediately after you activate him. This is something that VetGuard is really good at. For a team that has so many models, you get access to a lot of chain activation, which brings down, which is great because it lets you make things happen without your opponent being able to react. And also it cuts down on, let's say if you're facing an elite team or a team that does not have 14 models, has less than that, you're cutting down on their overwatch, which is also good because guardsmen die really easily. So super good. It's something you will see a lot of throughout the rest of this team. And the really important thing here is that when your leader, your sergeant, dies, which he will, this guy can assume command, which means that he gets the ability to issue guardsman orders, which is the bread and butter of your kill team, which we will talk about. And so what is important to realize is that once he has assumed command, once he is your leader model, and can issue guardsman orders, he can no longer do the chain activate free action. So that's something to keep in mind. But this guy's an auto take. He's on every single list I've ever taken because I think it's so valuable. Because if your leader gets sniped one way or another, and you don't have this guy on your list, there goes all of your guardsman orders. There goes your rerolling ones, right? There goes your all the crazy things that they can do. Very important. Always take him. Auto take for me easily. Here comes another mandatory model of the team. It is the Comms Veteran. If you are playing any kind of Imperial Guard team, a comms unit is a must. The comms guy can relay guardsman orders to the entire team when he is issued an order by your leader. You will take this because it makes your entire team what it is. It's an auto take. This model has to be on your team. If you're going to play this, I don't care what you have to do. If you built him wrong, rip him apart and build him right, because you have to take a comms veteran on this team to make it what it is, or else you're going to really handicap yourself. So again, there's some models that you can have some agency to move around, but like I said, leader, obviously got to take him. Confidant, I say you got to take him. Comms, you absolutely have to take him. So there's that for what it's worth. The other thing that he can do is he can give one of his action points, one of his AP, to somebody else, right? So this, let's say you give it to your plasma gunner, you can turn him into what I like to call the plasma popper, which allows him to move, shoot, dash back behind cover, keeps him safe because plasma has a big target on its back. Or you give it to your sergeant, so now that he can, let's say you really need to plasma somebody, but they're out of range, you can now move, dash, shoot, or same thing for your melta gunner, right? So it's really good and it's really flexible, and definitely use it because it just extends your threat range. It keeps models alive. The APL shifting is another kind of guardsman, Imperial Guard thing, and it really helps make this team what it is. The Comms Veteran is a model that at the beginning of every turn, you will want to keep him within 6 inches of your leader because models that are 6 inches invisible to your leader model get orders. And so once he's issued an order, he can broadcast it around to everybody, which is really, really important. So I like to keep him turn 1 and turn 2 close to my sergeant, and then once my sergeant is dead, I want to make sure that he can get back to my confidant, or my confidant can get close to him, either or, which is really important. Next up is actually 2 models because they are BFFs, and they always hang out together, and there's a lot of synergy between them. My sniper and spotter combo. These 2 are so insanely good. I pretty much always take them. The sniper has the long las, which is 4 shots, hitting on 2s, doing 3/3 damage with 3 mortal wounds on a crit. And in an activation that you don't move, it gains the silent rule. So obviously this guy, my sniper, goes up to a vantage point with the spotter ASAP, right? If he's not shooting turn 1, that's okay, because turn 2, he is going to ruin somebody's day when you have him next to the spotter. For what it's worth, you could also buddy him up with the Zealot. What that does is when your Zealot, does his special action. I believe it's called Uplifting Primer. That means people within a certain range, I think it's 3 inches, can when they make a shooting or fighting attack, they can select 1 dice, 1 result of 5, count it as a crit, which is good because it helps you get those mortal wounds. But I always take the spotter because, let me tell you about it real quick, but I just think the spotter is so good and can really ruin somebody's plan, especially, if they don't see this coming. The spotter has 2 really insane, cool things that he can do, but both of them cost 2 APL, which is as many APL as this guy has. So, like we talk about, turn 1 will be about getting this guy into a position to wreck somebody's day in turn 2. He has a regular lasgun, but also a mortar barrage with 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, doing 2-3 damage with blast, unwieldy, silent, and barrage. The other thing that you can do for 2 AP is a unique action called Spotter. You select one enemy operative that this model can see, and then you select a GA1 model within circle of that spotter. That model can then activate immediately after and treats the enemy operative your spotter selected as if it has an engage order. So your opponent has a model that they think is safe. No, my friend. The spotter has spotted them, and now your sniper will snipe them. This is super good, really dangerous, and a great little stack that I would recommend that you take like pretty much always. It's really good. Up next is the Medic. The Medic is awesome because Guardsmen are good at one thing, and that is dying. And this Medic helps solve that problem. The Medic has an ability, really creatively named Medic. When a friendly operative within 3 inches and visible to your Medic dies, you can revive them. That model is then alive with 1 wound remaining and can make a free dash action as long as it finishes it within 1 inch of the Medic. If you perform the Medic ability, keep in mind that you subtract 1 AP from both the Medic and the operative that you revived. He also has a cool, unique action which costs 1 AP called Medkit. You might be familiar with this. When you are within 1 inch of a friendly model, you can heal 2 D3 wounds, which is awesome, right? Let's say, typically I will use this as, I keep my Medic probably in my back line to support my gunners that might be getting fire if they get shot or something. And so let's say you have a plasma gunner, which is your biggest, most scariest gun, gets wounded. Well, this guy, or is killed, right? And if you're next to him, you can revive him with the previous ability, Medic, or with Medkit. Let's say he's just wounded. Well, you patch him up, and now he's not wounded anymore. So that means he's back to hitting on 4s instead of 5s, right? So it's really good, really flexible, and it's just a great model to have around. I always take him. Then I have the Demolition Veteran. Now, this is a model that I am still learning how to get the most out of, but the potential here is crazy. His whole thing is that he can place a mine that does 4 shots, hitting on 2, doing 5-6 damage, AP1 with a 3-inch blast radius. Wow. Just absolute complete area denial. So you drop this on an important point and dare anybody to go near it. Now, like I keep saying, a lot of what Vet Guard can do is setting up for a big play in the next turn, and this guy does that in spades. Now, if I don't take this model, I tend to either take the Zealot or Hardened Vet instead. But like I said, I keep running this guy because I'm trying to get the most out of him. A cool thing you can do with him is with your comms guy, bump him up to 3 APL. That way he can, move, place, dash, or, all those kind of things. So there's a lot you can do. It's really powerful. It is a big brain move, right? And I'm not the most biggest, brainiest guy. Then we have the 3 gunners. Plasma, Grenade Launcher, and Melta. All 3 are awesome. You probably already know what they do. Plasma is best, Grenade Launcher is also great, and the Melta is a delete button when you get in the 6-inch range. No special rules here, just serious firepower, regular dudes with scary guns. I love it. That's what Guardsmen are all about. Rounding out my list is the 4 Guardsmen instead of the ancillary? I don't know. Tell me how to pronounce it. Support. This is like a no-brainer for me. Give them grenades, give them the hotshot equipment, sit them on points. Having 4 extra bodies on the field, to me, is amazing, and it gives you 2 GA2 activations to stack on top of the chain activation shenanigans that some of the specialists already have. My recommendation, for what it's worth, is to always take the 4 bodies. If you look at the tournaments, people are taking the 4 bodies. It just gives you, going from 10 to 14 is a huge jump. But you're not taking, it's not actually giving you 4 extra activations, which is important when it comes to Overwatch and those kind of things. So yeah, 4 extra bodies all the way for me. Holding points, whatever it is, can be dangerous. Like I said, GA2 with grenades, with crack grenades, very scary, very good. Love it. So this is the list that I have been enjoying, that I've had success with, but there are other options. Just for fun, I would like to try a melee guard list where take the hardened veteran, hardened veteran, take the hardened veteran, take the bruiser veteran, give the four troopers the hand axes, right? Just for the memes, just for the YOLO. I think it would be fun. And then you pop the order or the ploy, whatever it is, that allows you to, retain one hit before you roll as a success. And I just want to try it for fun, just for the lulz. Moving on to a speed run of orders, ploys, tac ops, and equipment. Let's go. So this team's thing, what makes them what they are, their special ability is the fact that your leader can dish out Guardsmen orders. Now, if you play the Compendium team, it works in a similar fashion. For the Compendium team, it takes 1 command point to dish out an order. But for these guys, you get it for free, but you're limited to 1 Guardsman order per turning point unless you spend a ploy that allows you to give out 2. Really good, do similar things to the Compendium, but are slightly different. Very flavorful, very guard, and so super good. So let's take a quick look. Number 1 is move, move, move. It's great. It takes you from a 6-inch move to a 7-inch move, and that inch can make the difference. Just being able to move a little bit faster than your opponent, being able to climb a little bit easier. These are things to think about. When almost every other team in the game is stuck to 6 inches of movement, if your guardsmen can be charging up 7, paired with some other movement shenanigans that they have, it's very good, and it's very good. Number 2 is take aim. This is very guardsman. Lets you reroll 1s when you're shooting. Okay, if you don't know what order to give, you should probably give take aim. It's just great across the board. Lets you reroll 1s, and that's good for guard because you hit on 4s. So hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s is a lot better than just a straight 50-50 dice roll. It's awesome. And side note, obviously this is great with plasma because you can overcharge plasma and get free rerolls on those 1s. So to save you from those mortals, just keep that in mind. You probably knew that, but if you didn't, there you go. That's for free. Number 3 is hold position. If you are in cover, you can roll defense dice rolls of 1, but you can't dash or charge. I don't use it a ton, but there is a place for it. Number 4 is fixed bayonets. Sounds awesome, is less awesome than what you think. Lets you reroll 1s in melee, which is good, but if this is the best guardsman order for you to dish out in a turning point, something is probably going really bad for you. Turn 1 is almost always move, move, move. Gives your guys that extra speed to get where they need to go, to climb where they need to climb. It's awesome. Turn 2, 3, and 4 are almost always take aim to reroll 1s to give your whole team ceaseless. You have a lot of guns, you need those guns to hit, you need those guns to do the work. And I don't like coin flips. Just makes those coin flips feel a little less bad. Sometimes, if I really need to hold some points and I feel like, man, I'm going to get blasted by something, I will use hold position. But even in those situations, I would almost rather take aim. Just depends, but there you go. That's typically how I've been running these. Moving on, let's move through these strategic ploys. Overcharge las guns. This gives all of your las guns AP1, but also the hot rule. So everybody gets AP1 that has a las gun, that's shooting a las gun. But if you roll a 1, you take mortal wounds, which is bummer. But you're rerolling 1s, so pretty good. I like this a lot. Next up is the strategic ploy, take cover. This is excellent. Okay, all of your guardsmen have 5-up saves. That stinks. That feels really bad. With this, if you are in cover, all of your guardsmen go from that horrible t-shirt 5-up save to a 4-up save. That is a Scion save. That is that's goes from on a 5 and 6 to now on 4. But that's a 50-50 chance. That's great odds for a guardsman. So this is awesome. I find myself taking this a lot. When you have really punchy guns like plasma and grenade launcher, all this kind of stuff, you may not get the most economy out of overcharged las guns. And so what might be more important than punching hard with your 2-3 damage las guns might just be keeping your guys alive. And so I probably typically lean towards this most of the time. I really like it. It's great for one command point, and again, keeps your guys alive, which fixes a common guardsman problem, which is you all die rather quickly. Next up is Into the Breach. This is typically the only time you're going to get good economy out of this is by playing it turn 1, because it applies to every model that is fully within your deployment zone. And what it allows you to do is every model in your DZ, your deployment zone, gets to make a free 3-inch dash action. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, please, I'm very correctable. But for I had to dig around, do some research because it was not super clear to me. But this happens in the strategic phase. It is a strategic ploy, so you make that dash action immediately outside of the firefight phase or whatever it would be, outside of your model's activation. So it happens immediately. If I'm wrong, somebody mark it down in the comments and I'll pin it, and I might even edit it to put something up here. But I believe it happens in the strategic phase. So I pretty much always take this turn 1, which is great, especially when you pair it with moving 7 inches, with move. It's great, makes you really fast, and is good. Movement is super important. Clear the line. This one is kind of weird, kind of like fixed bayonets. But what this lets you do is in melee, in combat, what you can do is automatically, before you roll your attack dice, you can retain 1 dice as a successful hit. Again, I feel like if you're popping this, then you're probably having a bad day anyways, and so, I don't know. I've never used it, because I've just, if I've just never used it. You're guard, you're not, punchy people, you're shooty people. So I've never used it, but it is there, I guess, if you if you need it. Inspirational leadership. This is very good. It allows you to dish out a second Guardsman order for 1 CP. Really good. If you need to stack up, it's there. It's awesome. It allows you to do that. Next is in Death Atonement. This is like only in Death does duty end for Astartes, but for veteran Guardsmen. If one of your readied models gets killed, you can keep him around till the end of his next activation. This is great if one of your scary guns doesn't get a chance to go off. You can keep him alive and let it happen, and then he dies. So it's good. It's there. Like I said, it's great. It's a great tactical ploy, and really cool that a team that is not an elite team has access to it. So it's great. Then we have Combined Arms. I'm going to read this because I don't want to get it wrong. If you're shooting an enemy model that has already been shot at, you can reroll all of your attack dice, which is aka the Custodes Killer. If there's a model that really needs to die, shoot it first with a lasgun, shoot it first with a flashlight, and then activate your plasma gun, which will now have the Relentless special rule. It lets you reroll all hits. Super good. It's great. If there's a model that really needs to die, take this for 1 CP. Okay. We're moving pretty quickly. Time for TAC Ops. You only have access to security, which may sound like a bummer, but it's actually not, because security is really good and fits, a body spam team like veteran Guardsmen really well. And on top of that, you also have access to 3 faction-specific TAC Ops that you can swap one of the security TAC Ops for, which is awesome. Let's take a look at them. Let's blow through them really quick. I'm not going to tell you what each of these are. Go read it in your rule book or in, Wikipedia or whatever. This video is already probably too long. Starting off with Seize Ground. This is really good. You have the bodies to pull it off. It's a great choice. Next up is Hold the Line. This one's a little tricky. Don't love it. Not an auto take for me. I think it is matchup dependent. If it's a team that you're confident that you can, say if it's an elite team and you're confident that if there's 1 or 2 of them that getting close to your deployment zone, if you feel like you can blast them off, maybe take it, but it's not something that I take on a regular basis. Protect assets. I like this one a lot because your enemy team, the opponent's team, is going to want to be on objectives and objective markers. You're a shooty team. You're going to already want to be shooting them off of those objectives, so this is really good. I like this one a ton. Then we have Damage Limitation, which is a big nope for me. It's all dependent on your team, your Guardsmen not dying, and your Guardsmen, dying is kind of their thing. So don't take this one. Sub this out for a faction-specific TAC Ops for sure. Then we have Plant Banner. I don't hate this one. This one's pretty good. Again, I think it's matchup dependent. If there are going to be a ton of enemy models in their deployment zone, then they can kill you and destroy that banner pretty easily. But, I haven't taken it a ton. I think it's good. If you take it a lot and you have any knowledge to drop on us, please do so in the comment section. Finally, for the security archetype is Central Control. This is great. Again, right up your alley. You have the bodies to pull it off. You're going to have bodies in the middle of the board. It's pretty easy to get. I like it. Moving on to Faction TAC Ops. Boots on the ground. This requires you to have more bodies within 6 of your DZ and within 6 of the opponent's DZ. You're going to be all over the place, which is okay, but again, I don't love this if the enemy is going to have a lot of models in their deployment zone. Against elite teams, I might take this. Against teams of, 8, 10, 12, 14, bodies, I'm probably not taking this. Stand fast. This one requires you to be holding at least 2 objectives and also to be holding more objectives than your opponent. Again, you have the bodies to do this. You can do this. I don't take it every time, but it is a great option. Then finally, we have Glory and Death, which is very thematic, very Deathcore of Krieg. It requires you to have lost more models than your enemy, and it also requires you to have scored more mission objective points. So what are Guardsmen good at? Dying and throwing bodies at points. So this is pretty good. Again, I don't take it all the time, but it's a pretty safe bet. So I do like this one. Last but not least, let's blow through some equipment. Hotshot capacitor pack for 2 equipment points. This is really good. It bumps up your lasgun damage from 2-3 to 3-4. It just adds 1 to each of those profiles. And listen, if you are starting out with Vet Guard and you don't want to go the grenade route, which is probably the better way to go, which, you know, give a couple crack grenades to your GA2 models, give your 4 troopers over the hotshot capacitor packs, which means that you have 4 GA2 models that can chain activate, 2 at a time, of course, and they're doing 3-4 damage, which is great, which pairs really nicely with overcharged lasguns, because then you have a lasgun hitting on 4s doing 3-4 damage with AP1. That's a surprising amount of damage output. Rosary for 2 equipment points. I love this one. My leader always gets this. Once per battle, you can ignore the damage from 1 shooting or 1 melee dice. This is great. This is effectively just giving your sergeant or whoever you give this to more wounds. It's awesome. Love it. Always take it. Trench shovel for 2 equipment points. I've never taken it. Probably never will. Frag grenades for 2 equipment points. Really awesome to give to your GA2 troopers. Crack grenades for 3 equipment points, really, really awesome to give to your GA2 trooper models. The chronometer for 3 equipment points, this is a little expensive for me. Once per battle, you can reroll your initiative dice. If this is like the game changer for you, playing Vet Guard, please tell me, but I typically don't take it. I feel like it's really expensive. I'd rather have a crack grenade, if I'm honest. Topographical chart for also 3 equipment points, a little expensive. This lets you, in the scouting phase, pick an extra scouting option. So I really don't like this. I think this is horrible. I think it's a horrible spinning of your points. What are you going to do? Be able to get a free dash with 1 model and have a, put down, another barrier. I don't like it. I don't take it. Hey, listen, but if it's, making all the difference for you, please tell me in the comments. Okay, this was a real chunky boy of a video. So in review, Vet Guard is an amazing team that has so many tools to play the game, right? Somebody who has, like me, who has spent a lot of time playing Compendium Guard, because a lot of the guys I play with are still using Compendium teams. I've been using Compendium Guard. Going from that team to this team is... You just have so many tools to play and win the game that Compendium teams just don't have access to. And now that more, bespoke specialist teams, some people don't like the word bespoke, I don't care anymore. Now that there are more out there in the world, I don't feel so bad playing a bespoke team. So they're great. I love them. They can be played to a really, really, really high level that I have not come anywhere close to yet. But I am having a ton of fun with them. They're very thematic. They're very fun. I'm really happy with my conversions. I almost feel a little guilty saying that for some reason, but I'm really happy with them. They're not perfect. I learned a lot. I hope you let me know if you like them or if you think they suck. Please tell me. Shout out to Mr. Pink and Miku Sheep who think they suck. So guys, thanks for watching. This was really fun. This is a real, like I said, big, heavy video. Took a lot of work to put into to play test and just learn, because it is kind of a thinking man's team, if you will. And I'm not a thinking man. Big thanks to Phil for manning the fort for helping me out with this video. Go check out his video on Vostroyan Firstborn right now. Listen, there are a lot of channels out there in the YouTubes, and not all of them are packed with valuable content. Not the case with manning the fort. Like I said, I've been watching his videos before we started talking, and big fan. Every video is packed with value, whether it's a lore video or a hobby video. He's done some really cool kill teams. I think he's planning on doing more kill teams in the future. Again, check out his channel. I promise you will be better off for it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for liking and commenting and subscribing and being so nice and cool over the internet. We are inching closer and closer to 3,000 subs, which is crazy. Thank you for such a wild, fun, rewarding ride. You can find me on Instagram at Battle Brothers Tabletop. I'm trying to post more there, guys. I'm sorry. You can find me on Discord, lurking in some of the Kill Team channels at Battle Brothers Tabletop. Again, feel free to, if you have a question, shoot it my way. I'll get to it when I can. And yeah, that's going to do it. Like I said, hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What Bespoke team are you running or thinking about running? Or are you just super happy with the compendium, depending on what team you play? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Again, guys, I have been Ben. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.